You went to Braceville Elementary, which feeds into
Gardner South Wilmington High School.
Wilmington. Okay, so again, pretty rural area.
Oh yeah.
Most of the people you knew growing up were in a farm area, knew about agriculture. You would say.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Okay, so then all of a sudden you get to fourth grade, and there's this Ag Jeopardy thing. I know. So you go back. Tell me what you remember about Ag Jeopardy.
I remember that it was like a really big deal, and they picked either 4 or 5 of us to go to Ag Jeopardy, and it was a really big deal to be able to go, and all of the kids were very excited about it, and they wanted to be able to participate in it. And I remember I was so excited that I was chosen to do it.
Oh, it's a huge deal.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody comes in their team colors.
Yeah, and my parents came, and it was this big, huge deal.
But before that, didn't you have like monthly visits from?
Yes,
Actually, it was probably Yvonne Foss.
Yes, probably.
She's been there for a while, so. But okay, so you got these monthly things which lead into Ag Jeopardy.
Yes.
So, what do you remember about that, without going into it?
I remember always being really excited for when she was going to come, looking forward to what she was going to teach us. I remember one lesson in particular I have never forgotten, and I don't know why. She came in to talk to us about germs, I think, and she put this stuff on our hands, and we had to put our hands under a black light, and we could see all the germs. And she told us we had to go wash our hands and come back. And we put our hands under the light, and she said, see, there's still a lot of germs on there. This is how you have to wash your hands. You have to wash, you know. So she like taught us how to wash our hands. And I remember she would just always come in and bring these really great interactive lessons and activities for us to do that we were always really excited about.
Your team went. How'd you do? How'd your team do? Because you do the rotations,
yes,
right?
you do the rotations. I don't remember how we wound up. I think we did pretty good. I remember there's one activity that I remember in particular that was talking about importing and exporting, and we had to label the continents. And I remember that one in particular because I remember saying that Europe was Europe and Asia was Asia, and everybody else on my team was like, no, they're the other way around, they're the other way around.
Too funny, but talking about imports and exports, and where it came from. So all that stuff built from, thinking back with your education lens now, okay, so she was in there, but she talked about hand washing, but it meant more than that. Right? So it was health and safety, but also continents. Okay, you're talking about continents for agriculture, that's social studies. Right. Any real, when did she, do you remember when she came? Was it your science class or social studies class, or what was it? How did you get it billed as? Do you remember?
I don't remember, no. I just remember that she would come in, and it was at a set time. I remember that it was at a set time because we always like knew when she was going to come. But I don't remember.
From a relatively small school, how many of them do you think ended up in agriculture as careers from your high school class? How many did you graduate with?
We graduated with 18.
Man, that is really small.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
I graduated 32, and I thought I was small. So wow.
Yeah, we're small. But that was from 8th grade.
Right.
From high school, because there was 3
Right,
schools.
it all came together. Right.
We had 57 in my senior year.
Which is still pretty small. What do you think?
I know at least one of them. His family was all farmers. I know at least one of them.
Went back to the farm.
Yes, very much so. He worked on the Halpins farm. I remember we went to a field trip to the Halpins farm, and we learned about milking cows and how to make butter and all that kind of stuff.
Your instructor, Mrs. Evans, says, okay, ag in the classroom's coming. Did you remember it automatically?
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, I did. And I was thinking, is that the same program that I was in?
Yeah. Well, what about some of the reactions of the other students in your class?
Oh, it cracks me up. It cracks me up because I will tell people that I have pigs, and they're like, you do? And so we had to plan a field trip for one of our projects, and So I planned mine around geocaching. But then later, all of our girls in my class, we came out to my house and we had a big bonfire and we cooked hot dogs over the fire. And they're like, you should have made your field trip out here. And they're like looking at all the animals, and I just think it's like such an everyday thing. So I think it's hysterical that they don't know what tractor pulls are. They didn't know that potatoes grow roots if you leave them. So.
Well, what about the materials that you saw in the classroom? What most intrigued you, or what do you think you could develop a unit around?
I think all of it is very applicable to apply to anything. You were able to relate it to all the different subjects, and so it would be super easy to incorporate it into your everyday curriculum. I don't think it necessarily has to be like we're talking about animals, so let's incorporate this aspect into it. It would be really easy to just use it in your everyday curriculum, I think.
Well, and I think one of the things is sometimes, especially pre-K through about second grade, they do their farm unit.
Yeah.
And they have a box,
Right.
and they put their farm unit in the box, and they do it for 2 weeks, and
Right.
then they're done, and we never talk about it again. One of the things we really try and stress is, it's around you.
Yeah.
If you're eating and you're getting dressed, you're using ag products, where does it come from? And I think
Right.
even though going back, looking at your class of 18 or 57 or whatever, most of them probably didn't go back to the farm. It'd be nice if they ended up there
Right.
somehow. But if they aren't on a farm, maybe they're working at the service company helping
Right.
farmers. Maybe they're working at the elevator helping farmers. Maybe they're, in another
Yeah.
industry. So, other collegiate, your fellow classmates, after the reactions after we had presented and talked, what kind of things? I always want to know what happened after I left. What happened the next day?
We thought it was the coolest thing ever. A lot of the girls actually have used what you had brought into their classrooms. I know one of the girls, she was asking Mrs. Evans where she could find those little crystals to do the beanie baby thing.
Yeah.
And I took that to my schools, and all the kids, they loved it. They thought it was really cool. So all of the IFE students were very excited about it, and they are implementing those things into their classrooms.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Your career aspirations. What do you want to do? What do you want to teach?
I want to teach in a rural school. There's nothing more than I want than to teach in a rural school. I just love it. I love where I came from. I want nothing more than to teach in a rural school. And I know most people want to teach in the suburbs, but it's not for me.